All right, good evening, folks. Welcome. Welcome to the webinar series, Course Registration. Thanks for joining us tonight. All right, so we are going to get started now. So while we're using Zoom, if you do have a question, you can use the chat function located at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So we do have a Q&A as well. So if you are going to be asking questions, feel free to pop that in that Q&A box at the bottom of your screen there. And then we also have other people kind of behind the scenes working to make sure all the questions are going to be answered in a timely fashion. Just note that this webinar is being recorded. So please try and keep your questions relatively general, but also appropriate. And then, all right. So before we begin, Lakehead University respectfully acknowledges its campuses are located on the traditional lands of the Indigenous peoples. Lakehead Thunder Bay is located on the traditional lands of the Fort William First Nation, signatory to the Robertson Superior Treaty of 1850. Lakehead Aurelia is located on traditional territory of the Anishinaabe. The Anishinaabe include the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. Lakehead University acknowledges the history that many nations hold in the areas around our campuses and is committed to a relationship with First Nation, Métis, and Inuit peoples based on principles of mutual trust, respect, reciprocity, and the collaboration of spirits and reconciliation. All right, so yeah, again, tonight's webinar is about course registration. So with high school students, your course registration is starting on Monday. So this is a very exciting time for you to kind of just get your feet wet with what this means. So as an introduction, my name is Abby Arnold. I'm a recruitment officer here for Lakehead, but I'm based out of Thunder Bay, but I do cover both campuses, both Aurelia and Thunder Bay. And yeah, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Jack.
Hello, I'm Jack Hughes. So I am a Student Central professional here at the Lakehead University Thunder Bay campus, and I deal with FastPass, as many of you may know, and are probably going to be dealing with me at some point if you're needing help with course registration, but lucky enough, I'm already here. So I'll walk you through basically today just about everything to do with course registration.
Thanks, Jack. Awesome. So just before we dive right in, I just wanted to kind of touch on a few things that actually Lakehead University is one of Canada's top 10 universities, according to Maclean's. Again, and then we are #1 in Canada for non-for-profit research income, which is super incredible. We also have about $11 million handed out annually. So $11 million in scholarships and bursaries that we hand out to all of our students on an annual basis, and that renews every single year. We also have about 65 plus programs with 100% experiential learning, which is great. And then what I really like to highlight is 82% of our classroom sizes are 50 students or less. So that is really important for that one-on-one connection with your professors. They'll get to know you by name and vice versa. But we also have a 97.7% employment rate after 2 years of graduation, which is actually above the provincial standard. So all these really great facts. We also have, we're one of the top 2 undergraduate universities for research and fall within 5% of the entire world. So that's just a little bit more about Lakehead, and congratulations for all of you that have accepted your offer and that have placed your confirmation deposits. That's really exciting. We want to welcome you, a warm welcome to our Lakehead team, and we are so excited to get to meet you and get to know you next year, not even next year, this fall. And good luck with the rest of your semester in high school. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it back over to Jack, and he's going to talk a little bit more about everything to know with course registration.
So just to start off this presentation today, there are probably going to be a lot of questions around when do I choose my courses? How do I know what courses to take? How many classes do I need to take? And we'll go over basically everything you need to know and maybe even be able to give a couple of examples with program specific itineraries on it or anything like that. So we'll cover all these today. And if you do have specific uh, course questions, we do have the panel ready to go if you do have questions. So don't be afraid to drop anything in the Q&A and somebody will get to you and answer your question as we go through. I probably won't pause to answer very many. So if you do have that question, put it in the Q&A. Next slide. So just a little bit of trying to learn the lingo at Lakehead University and for many institutions here in Canada. So for courses, so a full course equivalent, often referred to as FCE. In order to achieve one FCE, you must take either 1 year long course. So that spans from September to April. So there is no um, re-registering for that course. You just continue on from the fall semester to the winter semester. Or another way to get a one course equivalent is to take two courses that are 0.5. That would end up being that full one FCE. Um, so in terms of a credit, each course has a certain weight to it, a certain measurement to it. Some will be that one full course equivalent, others will be 0.5 FCE. So in order to obtain that 5 credits that you will need in your first year, and depending on whether you're honors bachelor's or just bachelor's, you're looking about 20 credits in total for that honors bachelor's and 15 for that bachelor's. But you do need in your first year 5 full course equivalents. So we'll go over what that may entail. Every program is a little different, so you will need certain amounts of certain credits, depending on which program you are. Even to talk about electives. So these are depending on program requirements. Not all are the same. Some programs don't offer electives until a certain year. Some offer them in the first year. It really all depends on where you're heading and where you're going with your program choice. So it really all depends. Next slide. So again, talking about part-time, full-time. So to be considered part-time, you need to be registered in at least 3.5 FCE or less under the fall and winter terms. So you're not exceeding over that 4.0 FCE that would make you that full-time student. So that's a little bit what you need to do. So do remember, for anybody who's a full-time student, I did mention in the last slide that you're looking to have about 5 FCE per year. Now doesn't have to be standard across the board, but you need that 4 FCE to at least be a full-time student. So if you're worried about scholarships, you're worried about maybe OSAP funding, know that that's the bare minimum for a full-time student. So maybe course load is too much and you don't want to take 5 or 6 FCE in 1 year. You may want to do the bare minimum of 4 just to see how things go. But do keep in mind, in order to graduate, you do need 20 FCE. So at some point, if you lessen your load in 1 year, you might have to increase it in another just to make up for having a lesser load in your course year. To go farther, prerequisites, anything like that. So as you may know, in order to be in a certain program, you need prerequisites from high school. And even going forward on when you're in courses or when you're in programs, in order to keep continuing, you need to keep meeting the certain criteria. So each program has their own, what's happening here? There we go. We're back to the slide. Um, each program needs their own prerequisites. So we'll go through it, and later on I'll show you where you can find out what is your mandatory courses that you need to have, what electives you can have, everything like that, and then show you a little bit as the years go on what prereqs you need in order to go on to the next one. So those mandatory courses are pretty important, especially in order to move on into the next year. So we'll keep track of that as well. And the core courses are pretty much what I just mentioned there. They must be completed in order for you to designate yourself in that program. So understanding codes. So you'll know there, this is an example of a Psych 1000 course, which is a first year course. The department code is the first thing right there. So Psych, there's always an abbreviation to your program. So that is important for everybody to know. So again, if you're struggling after this course registration demo, there's always FastPass that is coming up in the next few weeks to get specific help with your course registration. You may not want to leave it to that long, but even myself, we can always meet to go over specific pointers here. So like I said, again, each department code is specific. So learn your department code, especially as to, even if it's electives, know which one is which. And then your second number there is your, so the first digit indicates the year level, and the third digit indicates if it is a half credit or a full credit. So do pay attention to that. You want to make sure that in order to keep up with that 5 FCE, or the bare minimum of the 4 FCE, that you are trying to match up. So whether it's a bunch of half course credits that gets you to that point, you will have a few full course credits that run the whole year, but do make sure that you're registering for those core courses, as well as when you're choosing other courses to fill up your timetable, that they do meet the requirements. And that's a good way to know your course numbers and figure that out for yourself. And then you have your course selection. So the first letter indicates the term in which the course is being offered. So Y right there at the bottom is a year-long course. It will say F for fall, W for winter. Sometimes summer spring is SA, sometimes it's just A, sometimes it's just S, depending on the course. But generally look for that to give a good indicator of what you're getting yourself into, and whether, if you were to drop one of those courses, what you would need to fill that up again. And then the letter is usually the identifier for multiple sections of the same course. So section A, B, or C. Next slide. So my info registration. So this is probably where I want to share my screen and go into things. So I am using myself as a demonstration here. So this is what my info, or at least the main tab is. And this is what's going to be probably confusing for most of you, as we're going into a new system called My Portal, but it's not quite set up yet that it's fully accessible. And I'd say the easiest way to get to My Portal is through My Info. So if you do hear those two words, they're very interchangeable at the moment, until every single tab in My Portal is usable and that it's quick to get to. So you'll need to know how to navigate yourself in order to get to my portal. So when I'm a student, which for most of you, you will be in the fall now. Is it not gonna let me? There we go. So now I'm at the same page as we were in the presentation. So good to note here that most of these links here still work and are probably easier for you to click on to get into my portal, just to get things started, because some of the tabs don't work. So do note, if a tab in my portal doesn't work, it probably works in my info under the student section. So if you're needing anything in that regard, do go to my info first before you start asking questions about my portal. Why isn't this working, or whatever it may be? There's still issues going on and it's not completely fixed. But to always, before you register for courses, you want to always click the build my pre-registration. So in my portal, you always have to pre-register your classes. So that gives you a good time to set up your timetable, know where everything is. And then once registration opens, it's really just a click of the button to register your courses without, going into registration right away and making a mistake. And then you have to undo this or maybe call somebody to get things fixed. Pre-registering or doing the build my pre-registration is the easiest way. So I'll click on that. So now I'm technically in my portal. So you'll see a difference of what it looked like. And usually I'll save my portal as a tab so that I can go directly there after my info. But just to show you guys what the transition looks like, it's kind of a whole new interface. So can I go back here? So my portal will look like this. Usually it will take you here right away. But just to navigate my portal, there are a couple of different tabs here on the side. But you'll go to academics, and this will drop down here, and you're going to go to course registration and timetable. And when you go click on that tab, it's going to take you to pre-registration planning. So don't go to register for courses right away. Do the pre-registration planning. It'll be all set up for you. And like I said before, all you have to do is a click of the button to get things going and be registered in any of the courses. So this is what it looks like. And now this will be quite confusing to start off with. So I generally do mention that there's two things you need to do before you start registering for courses, which is generally my other page here. No, I can't see it due to the screen. That I want to show. I'll go over here. So a quick thing to always pull up is the academic calendar. So what the academic calendar is, and it's the most important thing for reference to any student, and the new academic calendar for 2023-2024 will, what I've been told, will be up tomorrow. So there'll be a new one for you to click on. But what is important here, so this is just the interface and what you would see if you clicked on or searched the academic calendar. You're going to pull this up, and two very important pieces of information here on the academic calendar are important dates and program and faculties. So important dates here, if I click on this, will show, especially, so that's already up right now. But yeah, it will show you important days. So first day of classes is Tuesday, September 5th. Final day of classes is December 4th, but it just gives you an understanding of when things are so that you know to keep an eye out for when it happens. So final day to register for a class, September 18th. Final date to withdraw or drop a class, November 3rd. Very important dates to know, especially if you need to drop a class or you haven't registered for one yet and you need to include one more credit. Very important. The exam period, marks due, anything like that to follow. So as a student, I would always keep this in mind of when things are, what I need to follow. And again, it will repeat itself for each term so that you know when classes start, when final day classes end, registration, withdraw, anything like that, so that you're staying up to date with when things are so that you're not confused or asking questions when it comes time to those crunch deadlines. So another important thing in the academic calendar, which is basically your helper guide to registering for courses. So when you come in here, there's going to be a number of different programs and faculties. So it's important to know which faculty you rely on. Some of them are very self-explanatory, but if sometimes I see students get confused of whether they're under a health and behavioral science or whether they're on a social science and humanities. But just to give you a look here, I'm going to always click undergraduate programs unless you're a graduate student here today. But I'm going to use undergraduate programs for now. And when I click on this, all these programs are going to come up. So for me, I've been shown always the example of biology. So I'm going to use biology. So I'm going to click on biology. And I'm going to find where I need to be. Now we have a bunch of different majors and concentrations. So it's really important to know, what did you sign up for? What did you get accepted to be into? Learning what that looks like for you is going to help you figure out what courses you need to register for and what you need to have completed for core courses, for electives, for a bunch of different things. So I'm going to use the example of honors bachelor's of science in Thunder Bay. So when I get into that right there, it's going to tell me some important information here that any year providing an overall 70% average has been attained in all biology courses. So knowing that as I go through is pretty important, especially in fourth year, it must be maintained. And then it will walk me through which courses I need to take first year, second year, third year, fourth year. So I'm really starting to understand now, okay, what is mandatory that I need to be done here? So just to walk you through, let's say first year. So first year, I need to get biology 1050 and 1051. They'll probably be taken in either semester. Same with chemistry. And it's important here when you see this, mathematics 1151 and 1152, or mathematics 1171 and 1172. So it's not saying that I have to take all four mathematics courses. It's that I have to pick with two or the other two. And then we'll get into the rest of it. So explaining one full course equivalent in a type C course, not in biology. So that's very important to note. And usually you can go down to the bottom here. Sometimes they don't have it. But if I click on what is a type C course, it will take me to a listing of all the type C courses I can take. Now, when I am a first year student, I'm looking for anything that starts with the 1000s. So that will give me an idea. And there's a bunch of there's type A, type B, type C, type D, and type E. So make sure that you're going into the course classifications to figure that out, because they're all not the same. And it will give you a general idea of what you need to take. So you need one full FCE type C course. Then you'll need one full FCE elective, excluding type C courses. So anything else outside that realm, and then one half FCE elective as well. So keeping that in mind, when now I know this, so I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go back to my portal now, and I can select the term. So just to give you an idea of here, I can click the fall term, then I can click the subject. Outside of that, really, like, unless you're specifically on a date, I know I'm going to the Thunder Bay campus. My academic level is undergraduate. And then you really can get very specific, but I kind of leave that open because I need to take my mandatory courses, right? So I need that to be my first and foremost mission in order to register. So I can search these. It's going to come up with all the courses that I've just suggested here. So if you're looking to be very specific, though, I know I need 1050 and 1051. So I can check to see when those are open. So right here, I have that. And then there's usually a lab with that or anything like that. It'll show me all the different lab options I have, and I can add that to my pre-registration builder. And then it will keep continuing with biology because I was just very broad with my search. I just wanted to know biology courses, but I click add to any of these, and then I can register for classes. So I'll go back. Say. Sorry, everyone. There's like something in the way of like my tabs and I can't get to everything right away. So every time I add anything, if you want to be specific to take certain things in the fall or the winter, you have a lot of areas to select where things are. But I would generally, while you're searching for these courses, see where things are available, because one course might only be offered in the winter semester, one might only be offered in the fall. Some will be the year-long full course credits that you will have to take. So you need to kind of keep your options open and just really search the course that you're looking for and go from there. So like I said, you want to have both of these tabs open so you know where things are and what you need to register for. Go through any of the course classifications. And you can go through here. So
Jack, I just have a quick question. Sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
We're getting lots of questions about students not having the same tabs as you have. So like the student tab that you can actually go in and start pre-registering for. Is that because students won't have access to that tab to pre-register for their courses until June 12th?
I'm just looking here. So was it the, let me go back here.
When you go into my info and it has like the student tab, and then that's when you.
Oh, so like I have the applicant, student, employee.
Yeah. So right now, I
then,
believe majority of the high school students only have home and applicant. So when would they get the student tab in order to register for courses? Would that be June 12th as well?
They should have the student, and maybe Rachel, you can add on this, is I'm a little bit new to my role. But as far as I know, if there's any complications with the confirmation of enrollment or anything like that, you won't have the student tab up there right away. Rachel, do you want to add in on that?
Yeah, I can for sure add into that. So I've probably answered about 30 of your guys' questions so far about this. If you are a new student to Lakehead, I've just been telling everybody, don't worry. If you don't have the student tab yet, that's honestly very typical. Um, Almost every student, if not every student that's a first year student coming into Lakehead, won't see that student tab until they're made eligible to register. Those are just sort of admissions team jargon. Um, and that's just meaning that as of Monday, you'll be sort of switch will be flipped, letting you know that you can register for courses, and then you'll see the student tab. But as of right now, you can absolutely pre-plan your courses under the applicant tab. That's been available to you for a very long time now, but pre-planning is open now even better because the timetable is live. So although the academic calendar isn't until probably tomorrow, the timetable is live and you can pre-plan under the applicant tab. And as of Monday, you just click register and you're good to go.
Thanks, Rachel. That was really helpful.
Thank you very much, Rachel, for that. That was what I was missing over, but thank you. Um, in terms of all of that, I think again, when I went to school here at Lakehead, because I'm an alumni, this was completely different. So it is much easier in terms of like searching courses, whereas like you would have had to go into your academic calendar, write out all the different things in here to make sure that you were getting it there. Now you can, if you just have this open, you see that you need biology 1050, I can simply just search 1050 in here or just biology and get it added to my table right away like I showed you. I think from my end, that's pretty much course registration in a nutshell. Again, I'm using my own account, so I don't really want to register for any courses in case something messes up, and I don't really want to have to pay for anything. So I will leave it at that. So I'll stop sharing my screen now, Abby, and we can go back to the presentation that you have.
Awesome. Thanks, Jack. Hopefully that was really informative for people. I'm just going to continue to share my screen. All right, so yeah, keep those questions rolling and we will, oh, sorry, I have to fly through this. So yeah, again, just to kind of reiterate the course calendar. So this is where you're going to find all of your courses for first, second, third, and fourth year. So you'd go to course calendar, or you can search on our website, academic course calendar. Oops, sorry, I realized that my video is not on. And then clicking that programs and faculties, you'll actually be able to find what program and faculty you belong in. And then that way you'll be able to select what courses you'll need. So making sure you're jotting down all of these courses, mandatory courses, what you need, and paying attention to what type of elective courses you need. And then this is what it looks like for course selection, as Jack already kind of went over and mentioned, so pre-building it. Jack and Rachel, maybe you can just reiterate it one more time because I was trying to listen, but also answering questions. So once they've pre-registered for all of their courses that they have, come June 12th, does it automatically register those students for those courses? Or do they have to go back and separately add those courses again? Or does it automatically register for them because they're pre-registered?
Okay, so I can explain a little bit about that. So basically, as I was going through with the presentation, I showed you that pretty much whenever I searched a course there under biology, they all had this add button to it. So I can add as many as I need to fill whatever requirements for my program that I need for first year. When I add them, that's just adding them to the pre-registration builder. Once you've added them all, you're going to go to register for courses, which was right under the side tab under academics before I clicked on the pre-register build. And when I go in there, everything that I pre-registered and added is going to be right there. So basically, I go in there and I click register, register for these courses. Sometimes people will have issues registering for courses if there's any outstanding payments or anything to do with not being eligible to register yet. Mostly for first year students, that shouldn't be the case. But if there's ever really an error, and I think Rachel can touch on the different types of errors as well, but really, if there's no error or caution to what's going to come up, you're going to be registered for your classes once you click register for classes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rachel. I don't know if you wanted to touch any more on that.
Yeah, sure. So something that I just want to reiterate to everyone is being a first year student or even someone who's just brand new to Lakehead at any year, registration is a super stressful process in theory, and yet it isn't when you actually get into it. I promise you the system, especially now with now having my portal, is built to support you. And if you get an error message, it lets you know right away what you have to do. So if you get an error message letting you know that that course is full, a lot of courses allow you to be on the wait list. So it will let you have a little button there that tells you to add yourself to the wait list. And it takes you right to the page to do that. You can also do that through the portal manually by going to the tab for it. But the error message lets you know everything. So if you've picked a course that conflicts with another one, it lets you know that there's a conflicting course. And the general rule of thumb for that is always take the course that is required first for your program requirements. So top to bottom, when you're looking at your program requirements, you want to go through the ones that are exactly what you have to do. So if you need math 1172 and then it's conflicting with an elective course, you always want to take math 1172 and find a different elective course, right? So the error messages will never fail for you. They'll let you know exactly what you need to do to move forward. And if you have any concerns, you can always connect with Student Central, Jack or I. You can connect with a lot of different people and we'll help you troubleshoot that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So yeah, this is kind of about the stuff that Jack had kind of already brought you through. I am just going to kind of breeze over this, but this is what your typical timetable will look like. So the green blocked off spaces are, your English course, but I'm just going to get through this and then we're going to have a bit of a live Q&A question, just because there has been a lot of questions trickling through. So we're just going to pause and we're going to read some live Q&A questions here. So I don't know if Jack, Rachel, and Taylor, if you guys want to pop back on with your video, I will kind of read them out. And then if one of you guys kind of want to tag them.
Awesome.
That works.
Abby, and sorry everyone, I don't think I introduced myself at the beginning. My name is Taylor Reimer. I'm also a recruitment officer here at Lakehead, along with Abby. Abby, I'm seeing a lot of students, and I think this is a really good question, so I want to put it to Jack and Rachel, but a lot of students are asking about course registration date opening on June 12th for a lot of our audience this evening. But they might be registered for a fast pass session later this spring, summer. Should they keep that fast pass session and hold off on registering, or are they going to need to register so their courses don't fill up?
So yeah, no, that's a good question. So Rachel and I, along with some other faculty members as well, We'll be going into the local high schools here in Thunder Bay over the next 2 weeks, doing fast pass sessions in person. So what that's going to look like is we're going to go through a little bit more thorough of a presentation on registering, seeing more of those course errors, trying to balance timetables, everything like that. And what we also do after that presentation, we actually help you register for your courses then and there. So depending on when your high school is, I know that some of the Catholic school board is the following week of the 19th and 20th, which is when every other student outside of first year students can also start registering for courses. So I understand for some of you, if the waiting is too much, we completely understand and you need to do what you need to do. But I would never say don't attend one of our fast pass sessions, because let's say we get to your high school for Westgate, for example, on the 14th, but you already started registering for courses on the 12th and you are having issues, whatever it may be, attend the session so that you know you're not alone, or if you think you've made a mistake or you registered for courses that you didn't mean to register and you don't know how to fix it, we're there to help you, and we're there for, I want to say, 2 hours each session, so we can really help out any student that attends. And then from there, we have a bunch of online ones that are later on. For some of you that might be too late to wait, we completely understand that, but if you, it's really to help anybody with more of a Q&A style. If they're thinking they forgot something or they really just need that extra help, we're there pretty much all of June and July. Sessions are open. It's also on our Lakehead page as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Jack. I just also want to mention we had an extension to our confirmation deposit. So it did say on our website June 1st was the deadline to submit confirmation deposits. However, that is extended. So I heavily encourage you to pay your $200 confirmation deposit, and that will allow access for you to kind of gain registering for courses and whatnot. So yeah, do that. But we do have about 15-20 minutes left, so I'd like to get through some of these questions if that's okay with you guys. And then I also still have to wrap up the presentation, so we'll probably go through a couple of these questions and then we'll kind of go from there. So I know there is a special application to take a course load above 4 FCEs. Would someone be able to petition to take 5 FCE classes, or is the 4.5 the limit?
So that's not the limit. So I guess I should have explained myself more. So literally to be a full-time student, you need a 4.0 FCE. Now you can go above that, but you have to be careful of how much you go above that. So you're only limited to, in your entire university, and sometimes it gets missed, is that you can only have 7 FCE first year courses under your belt. So for any of you that are thinking, I want to get ahead and I want to take more courses, you can only take 7 first year FCE courses. After that, they do not count towards any of your 20 credits. So pay very big attention to that, because we've had a lot of students that have come into issues later on in their schooling because they're like, oh, I want an easier course. I might take a first year course just to have a little bit of a more relaxed schedule because I'm taking a lot of third year courses. Well, there are over 7 FCE courses of the first year courses that they're allowed to take. So pay very big attention, because after that they don't count and you're just adding things on that don't count towards your 15 or 20 FCE credits.
Awesome. Thanks, Jack. What exactly is an academic calendar for? Do you need it to register for courses?
So the academic calendar is not to register for courses. That would be my portal. And if you're having trouble finding my portal, you need to use my info, which is the old system, but still very much works until it gets there. But the academic calendar is simply to show what courses you need, important dates that you'll need to find, and many other things that you'll need to peruse, like student codes of conduct, any sort of faculty regulations, any university regulations. So it's more of a helpful, handy guide to you rather than to actually register for anything. So that's why I say always have that open beside you while you're registering for courses, just so that you're making sure that these are the right courses I'm taking.
Perfect. And what is the deadline for registering for courses?
So I believe I said September 18th when I look through the academic calendar there. So that would be the very last day, but do keep in mind that over the course of June and the first week of July are when that's kind of your week to register. So like some people were worried about in the beginning, if I can't wait for my fast pass session, can I just go ahead and register? Don't wait too long, because courses are going to fill up and they will get waitlisted, and then you might be in an interesting situation where you might not get the credits that you need to take in order to go on to the next year or something like that. So don't wait till September, August. Try to get them done in June or July so that you're going into your year without early on stress that you don't need to deal with.
Awesome. Are there any courses available online at Lakehead? If so, how does that show up on the registration page?
So online, so yeah, that would show up just like any other course that would be on my portal. And Rachel, you might be able to touch on it a little bit better than myself of what the codes look like for online courses. Are they any
Yeah.
different?
So generally over the last few years, obviously with COVID, things have changed a lot, and course codes have not necessarily been indicating that it's an online course, for example. When you're looking at courses in the timetable, and when you're looking at them in my portal, or you're looking at them on the academic calendar, anything like that, it will always let you know the method of delivery. So that's really what you're looking for, is method of delivery. Some things to keep in mind there. Obviously, we're moving into a better world as we progress on and on and on away from pandemic years. And courses are progressively always becoming more in person again, but that hybrid model is still available and left over from that time period. And it actually works for a lot of students. But some things to keep in mind are what works best for you. So your learning style. And then don't forget that there's a difference between web and Zoom. So if it says course delivery is web, that is primarily self-taught, self-led. And the professor is there to support you. They give you the materials online, but you don't typically meet with them weekly. So they're available for meetings with things called office hours. But it's sort of self-paced with the exception of some due dates that are hard deadlines. And then a Zoom delivery is similar to an in-person course where you would show up 1 or 2 days a week usually for a class, and you listen to the professor speak. You can have breakout rooms where you speak with your classmates and things like that, and you still have deadlines, and it's a lot less self-paced. So whatever works best for you and whatever is available there, just always have a look at course delivery. But the golden rule right now is a lot of courses are back to being in person.
Amazing. Perfect. Can anyone just list off the different types of A, B, C, D, and E elective courses? I know A is humanities. Is someone able to kind of fill us in on what those different electives are?
So yeah, so even in my example, like C was the sciences, I believe E is engineering, so most of those are engineering, and B should be health and behavioral sciences, I think. You may be able to correct me if I'm wrong, Rachel, but I'm pretty sure A is social science, B is health and behavioral science, C is regular science across the board, and then E is engineering.
I think E is indigenous, but yeah, there's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indigenous?
is
A is
Okay.
humanities, B is social sciences, C is engineering, math, and natural sciences, D is health and behavioral sciences, and type E is indigenous content. I can
Perfect.
Yeah, can I just note something? That type E requirement, everybody watch out for that. We're one of the only institutions in our province and in Canada that has a requirement that you take at least a half type E credit throughout your degree, and there are lots of options available to you. So just keep in mind that at some point you'll have to take that type E.
Awesome, perfect. So I'm going to do one more question and then we're going to continue on to the presentation because we have about 9 more minutes. I'm going to wrap up the presentation and then we are going to stay online to hopefully answer the rest of your questions. So last question I'm going to read out loud is, the pre-registration won't let me search for my required courses, so I can't add them to my pre-registration timetable. Is there any way to fix this?
So it won't let them search for it at all? Like
It won't
there's
let them
no,
search for required courses, so I can't add them to my pre-register timetable. Is there any way to fix it?
Rachel, can you touch on this? It seems a little,
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know me, which you probably don't, I am also a student at Lakehead. So I've obviously been playing around with the system. So I know your struggles. What I will say is when you're looking for courses in my portal, it's probably not giving you an error message. It's probably just not showing up with something. So what I've been doing is, for example, I'm an education student. So if I'm putting in EDUC and then I'm putting in, let's say, I don't know, 5102 or something. I don't know if that's a real course code, but let's say I did that. And it's not searching up. I just have to sort of get around it by typing in manually education, typing enter, and looking at the list. So it's a little bit more tedious, but it's usually the first one that comes up. If you're looking for something like, for example, if you're a first year student and you want to take ENGL 1115, make sure you put a dash in between and hit search. And then it should come up. The very first option should be English 1115. So that's what I would say there. If you're getting an error message, I would send an email to studentcentral@lakeheadu.ca with a screenshot of it. And the wonderful people on the other end of that email are always there to troubleshoot with you. And even if they have to connect with the tech team, they will.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering these questions. And, we have lots more coming in and kind of ciphering through. I think we've already answered almost 90 of them, and we still have another 50 to go. So I'm just going to get through this, the rest of the presentation. And then, like I said, we will stay online if anyone wants to continue to ask questions. We won't go too much past 7 o'clock, but we will shut it down eventually. So, all right. So continuing on with our presentation then. We have ask questions. The next steps are going to be June 1st, confirmation deposits were due, but we have extended that, like I have mentioned, and it is really important. It's a $200 deposit, just kind of secure your seat. So we ask that you kind of do that as soon as possible. That's going to help you. And then also June 30th is the entrance bursaries deadline. So making sure that if you haven't already applied for those entrance bursaries. Other than that, you can book a campus tour with us, both in Thunder Bay and Aurelia. Note that they are a little bit lengthy. The one in Thunder Bay is roughly around 2.5 hours, but it gives you an entire overview of residence, campus, as well as our gym facilities. And then Aurelia, because it is a smaller campus, it will be approximately an hour long for that. You can use the QR code in the top right-hand corner, but you can also go on our webpage and just type in campus tour, and it's going to show you either of the campuses that you can sign up. It's going to ask you about 20 or so questions, but it'll take you less than 5 minutes to book a campus tour. And then you also get a faculty visit. So say if you are in the School of Nursing, you will actually be, if you want to, you can have a faculty visit and you actually go and talk with one of the professors and someone that works in the School of Nursing, and they will give you kind of like a lab tutorial, a lab tour. So other than that, I really heavily encourage everyone to get social with us. So you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, as well as YouTube. This video, of course, registration will be added to YouTube in the coming days. So if you need to go back and reference anything, that will be on YouTube. Other than that, we just want to say thank you so much for your time and for asking all these really great questions. We are so excited to see you in the fall as we welcome you as our newest Thunderwolves. And yeah, if you recognize one of us around campus, definitely come say hello, come say hi. And thank you so much for choosing Lakehead. It is truly exceptional, unconventional, and you guys are going to have such an amazing experience and time at Lakehead. So we are going to use these next 10 minutes just to kind of answer any follow-up questions. But yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate it and looking forward to seeing you and welcoming you in the fall. Thank you and take care.